Well, good morning, streakers, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. It is good to be talking with you today. I am Jeff Downs, and I'm your host for the Streaking Podcast. Every day, publish just a little bit of something about streaking and what you can do to improve your life by setting laughably small activities in a streak and winning every single day. Today, I finished a master class. So, master class, if you haven't downloaded or don't know what it is, it's a great app that has all kinds of people who have mastered a particular industry or art, something that they've done pretty fantastically. They may be celebrities or other, who are really teaching us what they've learned. The class that I finished today, and I've been at this for a little while, is Kim Scott's class on radical candor. Her book, I haven't actually read the book. Here it's a great book, but the class is absolutely fantastic. She talks about the need for each one of us to have radical candor. And I won't go into exactly everything that she talks about. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about what she talks about, please buy her book or go to the master class and take that class. It's completely worth it. What I want to talk about is a little something that she said at the very end of all her sessions. And it stuck out to me because, obviously, when you hear it in just a moment, it's something that I've studied for quite some time. She talked about how each one of us has biases and that those biases are deeply ingrained into who we are. Or she said it this way, we have deeply ingrained habits. Habits, as you know, are something that I've studied for quite some time. And it's something that a lot of people have studied for quite some time. Now, my interest in habits came because I wanted to change a couple of things. One, my teeth happened to be falling out of my mouth, and I tried to make flossing my teeth a habit. In other words, something I didn't think about, because we have to define clearly what is a habit. And a habit are those things that you do involuntarily without thinking. And that's according to several experts and writers and popular opinion makers about the word habit. Something you do automatically, involuntarily, without thinking. It's mindless. In fact, in our interview that we did with Dr. Danny Weathers, he talked about the mindless activity that you do of strapping on your seatbelt. That's a mindless activity, and one that you don't need to count how many days in a row you do it. It's something that you do. Yes, in an accident or other, it will preserve your life, which is why you want to have it be automatic and not think about it, is because it is something that is a maintaining your life or preserving your life. Whereas streaking and having streaks is being intentional. So back to Kim Scott and what she was talking about in regards to radical candor. She talks about practice and persistence, that being radically candid is not easy to do. By the way, you care personally and challenge directly. That's the radical candor. It's not just being manipulative or bullying or being obnoxious, and she has labels for all of these things that you can read about. Being candid with people means that you care about them personally, that you want them to succeed, that you want them to be able to progress in whatever form of life that they're in. And so, in order to become radically candid, what you need to do is practice, have persistence and practice. Now, and she says, because a lot of the things that we believe or feel or have bias are deeply ingrained within us. And this is what stuck out to me, is that to change a behavior or an automatic response, you have to be intentional about it. You've got to look at it and say, what am I going to do deliberately and intentionally in order to overcome what I have inside of myself that may be wrong, not quite right, or needs to improve? And what do? I set a streak. And this is where streaking is so significant, is because it is all about being intentional and mindful. It's not mindlessness, it's mindfulness. It's being mindful about every choice that you make in every way. Not everything needs to be a streak. In fact, you employ habits in order to make things that you don't want to think about become automatic because you don't want them to take up mind space. For example, how to tie my shoe, how to fold my arms. those are things that I don't need to spend time thinking about. Or let's go better yet, and this is one of my favorite examples. When you are choosing to be a writer, let's say you want to write more. When you're choosing to be a writer, looking at every key as you touch it because you don't have the muscle memory or the motor memory of where those keys are slows down your writing quite significantly. And so what you want to do is put that typing into a habit where you don't have to think about where my index finger is pressing and what my pinky is doing and how my thumb is hitting the space bar. That comes automatically. What you want to be mindful. The mindfulness part of this is choosing to write at least one sentence every day. So as we look at being radically candid, being intentional, persistent, and practicing your work, it's really setting a streak. Now, what streaks might you set to learn how to be radically candid? That's a great question. Here's a couple that I thought of that might be of interest to you. On Kim's quadrant of being radically candid, she talks about caring personally. That was the one area that I thought would be a great place to set a streak. To do one thoughtful thing for another person every day. Now, what could that thoughtful thing be? Well, it's really up to you to decide what that might be. How to communicate with someone and be thoughtful about them. I saw a little post on the Streaking app just yesterday about a young man who has a streak to say something nice to someone every day. A little shout out to him. He said a nice thing to his sister. It was the greatest post ever. It inspired me significantly. But it was one thoughtful thing every day. So that's the first thing, to care personally. Now, how do you go about challenging directly? One of the streaks that I thought about as far as challenging directly is one that Jamie has, and one that has been set by many other people, which is to seek out feedback at least one time weekly. Now, I say weekly, you may want to do daily, but it's the opportunity to get feedback. Now, how could that apply to challenging directly? Well, as you learn how to take feedback, and by the way, feedback is neither good nor bad, or it's either good or bad. It is feedback, and it can be positive or it can be corrective, but feedback is what you will need to seek for. And if you seek for feedback, that will give you the opportunity to then learn what it is and what it feels like to receive feedback. So now I have two streaks that can help me challenge directly and care personally. If you'd like to learn more about streaking, you can download the Streaking app at the Apple App Store or at Google Play. Also, if you want to read about it, check out the Streaking book. You can buy it at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. The Streaking book gives you all the ins and outs of streaking and how to set up successful winning streaks in your life. As always, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the podcast, sharing it with others, and also if you could give us a rating on the book, the podcast, or the app, we would always appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day, and until tomorrow, keep streaking.
It's the little